Hello, my friends, I'm back. Kind of. What I want to share in this video is what has happened over the last 5 years, how I started here on YouTube, and what's coming next. And I've got some exciting news for you, so stay tuned. Especially the ones who are patrons are going to be super excited because we're doing some exciting things on Patreon in the future. And also, we'll talk a little bit about upcoming videos and the direction of the channel. So let's start. The first thing that I want to share is really my gratitude to all of you who have been watching me for 5 years making videos on YouTube about 3D printing. So I'm really thankful for everyone who watched my videos, who subscribed to the channel, and especially also to the people who supported me financially on Patreon. I cannot thank you enough because that has been a tremendous help to keep the channel going. But honestly, I'm currently struggling a little bit with the direction of the channel, and that's why I decided to make a few changes so I can have some peace of mind and really be making videos for the next couple of years and still have fun with that and still be motivated to do that. So because it's not easy at the moment, and I'm thinking about new content ideas and what I really want to do here and what I not want to do here in the future. One thing that I want to share, over the 5 years that I've been making videos, it's really been an up and down for me from various perspectives. One thing is I started with videos about the ANIT A8. That at the time was my printer. I started building it just a couple of months before I made the first video. And I learned so much from the 3D printing community and had to search all over the place, like YouTube, blog posts, Reddit, everything. Like, you cannot imagine how long it took me to figuring out certain things. And that's why I thought at some point that information and guidance is so scattered over these channels, and there is not much up-to-date guidance, especially, that I decided to start making videos, and that there was no intent to build a huge community around it or any kind of goals. Now, at some point when my videos got watched and people gave me feedback, I was super happy to get some input what I should make next and what people are really interested in, what people are struggling with. And so over the time, the ideas came in, I made new videos, and yeah, that's how it started. And at some point, I think a year later or something, I got monetized. So YouTube started paying me a little bit every single month for the ad revenue on the channel. And that also helped me, of course, to purchase some stuff and really invest back into the channel. Now, the reality is that every single cent that I made since then by Patreon and YouTube, and basically these are the two income streams, have been invested back into the channel. And for example, you saw me renting a new studio last year. We moved into the studio. I shared it with Rasmus. Now Rasmus has also moved out of the studio. I moved out of the studio because we both figured it's not the right thing for me and not for him, and we have different goals. And I personally have to say that it was so much of a hassle to move stuff to the studio and go back and forth all the time, and shipping had still to come to my house because we couldn't receive packets there, and it was really kind of a messy thing. I mean, it was a nice place, but it's I'm still having to pay for it until November, and then we're finally out. The thing is, financially, that was kind of a disaster, I must say. And honestly, sharing with you that's also one reason why I cut the cost and say I'm not earning here enough money to pay for the rent for a longer period of time anymore. So I'm really just really making as much as we are able to invest, or I. I'm always talking about we, but it's affects just me. The thing is that over the course of the last years, I hired at some point an editor. I had Rasmus partially editing my videos. I had other people editing my videos, and then also had to cut the cost for that and really come back to editing the stuff myself because I really have to save some money. So the thing is, it's an up and down. It's an up and down over the last 5 years, and being a creator part-time, so to say, is not an easy task because I'm still working full-time to provide my family with the income that we need. And the channel is still kind of a hobby thing, but the hobby is kind of paying for itself. But there has been years where I really lost a lot of money, and then the next year I made a little plus, and but overall I must say I still invested more, probably double the money that I ever earned here. So it's still investing and not getting so much back. But I'm not complaining, right? It's still a hobby thing, and it's kind of an expensive hobby. Now, the reality for the future is that I will streamline and cut costs, as I said, and I will decide what I will do in terms of making content. Now, one thing that happened over the last couple of years is that many companies approached me with products that they wanted to get reviewed. And I think that's the normal thing if you run a 3D printing channel or any tech channel, or any channel that covers products and shows products in any given way. And so these companies approach you and ask you if you can review their product, and they send you something for free. And that sounds exciting, but on the other hand, it also creates a huge obligation to actually make some content about it. And believe it or not, I mean, it's not super exciting because a lot of these products are not finished yet, and some products are really unusable, right? So sometimes I get offered products where I already know they are terrible, so I'm not taking them. Sometimes I'm getting a product that I'm excited about, and then I start using it and I'm finding out that it's terrible. So it's super hard to motivate yourself still to make a video about it. I know these are like luxury problems in the end, but because I didn't have so much fun doing it in the end, I'm going to make exactly 2 more reviews. One is going to be for a Creality scanner, the CR Scan Ferret. I'm not telling you yet what the results are. And I'm also making another video about the KeyDX Plus 3 version 2, so the refresh version. And that's for the foreseeable future, I would say for the next 6 to 12 months, going to be the last review of a product that I'm really going to do officially for a company. Any other thing that I'm talking about in the future, besides these 2 products, is going to be on my own terms, right? Products that I have bought myself, and I wouldn't call those videos reviews in the future. I'd say we'll use some things and we'll probably cover some things, but we're not gonna make reviews. So that's one thing, because I want to make videos that are fun for me and not for a company. So seriously, I mean it. It's seriously this thing that doesn't really make it's not exciting. I can tell you, it's not exciting. What I'm really more excited to talk about is really the future of the channel, where I'm heading. And I decided that I will get rid of most of my 3D printers. So that's the hard fact. I decided that I am not going to cover so much the modification side of things anymore, like tinkering and crazy modifications of 3D printers, although I really love to do that, but I think it's not really worth it anymore. Like, if you think about how many 3D printers are currently sold on the market, it's just such a variety that it doesn't really make sense to like go for a very specific model and then modify it like crazy. That sounds tempting and interesting, but I really want to focus on the maker side of things, where I'm starting to make products, videos about projects, like for example this 3D printed computer case that I've showcased here on the channel, and other projects using 3D printers to make something and not to modify the printer for the sake of modifying the printer. So that's what's going to happen. As I said, I'm going to get rid of a lot of the printers that I have. Partially will sell them because I need some funding and budget for future projects. Some of them will be given away. And the rules for the giveaways are as follows. I'm not going to do this on YouTube. I will do this for my patrons, on Patreon only. The main reason for that is because these printers, for example, the KeyDX Plus 3 here, is a super heavy device, and shipping costs are crazy. You can't believe, like, if I would have to ship this one to Canada, it will cost me around 150 euros, just the shipping costs. And no one's going to pay for that, right? So no one's going to pay me, not the company that sends me the stuff, and not anyone else. So, and as I said, I actually have to cut down the costs. And that's why I decided that I will do this for my most loyal followers who are supporting me financially, and will use the funding from Patreon to pay for the shipping costs for those giveaways. And that's also why we do these giveaways. And that's not exactly giveaways, it's contests, right? So don't confuse that with random choice of winner. We're doing real contests, and that means everyone who enters the contest will have to do something. Either we do a quiz in real time, so like you have to answer questions in real time, and the one that answers the questions in the fastest amount of time gets to be the winner. Or we do some real contests, for example, a design contest where I'm creating something and then I give it to the public and say, hey, take this design that I made here, modify it, and we're going to vote for the best design that comes out of that, right? And everyone else can vote what's the best result. So I'm not gonna pick the winner, so it's going to be the like the audience is gonna pick the winner, and so it's super fair, right? So it's not gonna be a random thing. That are rules, and that's why I can only say that's where it goes. It goes on Patreon, and that's where we're gonna do the giveaways. Now that doesn't mean that you're in any way excluded. We are also doing giveaways here on the channel, and there's gonna be more things upcoming in the future. But the most expensive stuff will go on Patreon, because these are the most loyal people, I would say. Now, honestly, with the content direction, as I said, no reviews anymore for companies. I'm not doing that anymore. I don't want to do that. I have a plan for the future of this channel, and that's going to be, we're going to make videos for aspiring 3D printing practitioners. And that's the term that I'm going to use. So these are people who want to use 3D printing. Either they are not yet doing it, or they are doing it, but they are struggling and frustrated and not successful. And we want to make a transition for them to being successful practitioners of 3D printing and other technologies like 3D scanning and also 3D modeling and design. But we're starting with 3D printing, and so the content on this channel is still going to be isolated single task videos, so to say, that are covering certain aspects. And besides that, I'm going to create a online course that's like really giving that transformation. That's what I'm currently really working on. That's where I'm focusing most of my time on, to create a real transformational online course for people who want to learn about 3D printing and really become successful practitioners with the technology and everything around it. And we're gonna like build up a library of content and extend the course over the next 12 months. So we're gonna start with 3D printing and then really get some feedback, do the first cohort with a limited amount of people, and then we're going to extend the content and upgrade and make it better and better over time. So that's the long-term plan. You hear more about it in my upcoming videos. I'm going to tease and show a little bit here and there, so you can think about it and think about what you would like to see in those kind of in such an online course. And don't get me wrong, the course has a very specific target audience. It's not for everyone. And I don't want to make it for everyone. I want to make it for a very specific audience. And the audience for the course is going to be people who really want to use 3D printing for example, product design, prototyping in their job, or they have an employer who wants to pay for the course and teach someone and level up someone in their company to be the 3D printing expert. Or people who are creating art and want to use 3D printing for creating art. So people who really want to make something and potentially also make money with the result. And I'm not targeting so much the hobbyist and the private person who is probably not willing to pay for an online course and probably also not willing to invest that amount of money. So we're not talking yet about pricing, but I'm just saying that the target audience is really going to be people who, if they would not learn this and would not have a chance to become good practitioners, probably they would leave money on the table, or they would lose money, in fact, because they couldn't really execute what they want to do. And I think that's the definition has to be that way, because otherwise it doesn't really make sense. So it has to be a crowd of people who are really, really highly motivated to learn that and really have a personal goal of becoming an expert, becoming good, because they have to, or they really want to, and they have a specific goal in mind that they want to achieve with the technology. And then at some point we're going to extend that to 3D scanning. Probably like we have some starting content in the initial course, like some initial content that's limited, just to show the possibilities and start talking about it a little bit. And then we're going to extend from there and branch out. Eventually we have multiple courses, or we have a bigger course, but that's still probably like with what I will exactly discuss with the cohorts members of the course, where we want to take it and what they would improve. Now, sharing more about that in future videos and teasing what's coming. So again, steering back to the YouTube part, where is this YouTube channel heading? So clearly we are going to cover beginner topics, We're going to cover like basics of 3D printing, concepts of 3D printing, updates about like news in 3D printing. But we're like not going to review 3D printers per se anymore. We're more going to show usages and examples and also projects that I am doing, and also like how to tackle specific problems or how to solve a specific problem with 3D printing. But as I said, it's more the usage side of things and the design side of things and the business side of things. Don't want to forget about that. One example of content that I'm working on is really a video about how I made 12,000 euros with a project in 3D printing. So that's one example. I think people will want to see that and what happened in that project, how I calculated, how I executed the project. So anyone who is interested in that, and we're going to make more videos about business side of things of 3D printing, how to make money with 3D printing, how I am making money on the side with 3D printing. And so you can imagine it's a little bit of a different type of content, targeted towards people who are more looking on the execution, the usage sides of things with 3D printing, 3D scanning, 3D design, and everything around it. Why I'm doing this is mainly because I personally have changed over the last 5 years. I've learned a lot of things. I still think that I can give back a lot to the community, but I think that it doesn't really make sense anymore in 2023 and 2024 to make videos about how to modify a hot end of a 3D printer and also reviewing. There is so many other channels that are doing this that are more nerdy and much more geeky about these kind of things, and I think it's still valuable. These channels all have to exist. They are super fun to watch, but honestly I think what we're missing is really covering more the basics and really like how to use the technology for like the better, I'd say, to make the world a better place, if you will, and how to make your life better with 3D printing. I think that's much more interesting than how to implement a certain hot end modification or how to build a Voron printer, and why we want printers that are 10 times faster as other printers. And I think that's also totally valid topics, but they're not really contributing to like the overall picture of the real appliance of the technology to real world problems. Because your printer is printing 10 times faster, it doesn't really solve that problem better, except that it's maybe better for prototyping and faster, but that's it. So clear goal change, I would say, or a little bit of a direction change for the channel, and also about the content in terms of how it's steering towards a more course-based business for myself. I have my, let's say, vlog channel or documentary channel still running, the Daniel Crosslink channel. I've also linked that down in the description. On that channel, I'm talking more about the creator side of things, so how it is to live as a YouTube creator. I'm not living as a YouTube creator, honestly, but I'm kind of a creator as a part-time thing. So I'm talking more about like how I make my videos and what I learned about making videos and what I'm taking, what I'm doing in terms of strategy for my channel and also strategy for my business. Because I think that is the type of content that doesn't need to live here. And this video here is already kind of borderline. So, but honestly, like everything else, like about the strategy and how I develop the content, for example, for the online course and how it's going and what I learned, I will share. Like I'm basically developing like product, if you will, in the open space. Anyone can see that and eventually use it for their own ideas and like maybe learn from it, so you don't have to make the same mistakes that I'm making, obviously, on the way. So I hope that I can share also something from that perspective with the world and with you if you're interested. But yeah, that's what I can say at the moment. And I'm starting to publish some very raw, unedited, mostly unedited videos there about my creative process and sketching out the ideas and whiteboarding sessions, essentially, how I'm building the business and what things I want to share in any kind of terms, like be it the ideation, goal setting, transformational sentences I'm creating just to like really make it very specific. So all these kind of like thinking processes and idea generation sessions I'm doing, I will hopefully be able to share everything there. that's it for today. Last reminder, if you want to be joining the contests for everything that I'm giving away, with a few exceptions, I will direct you to Patreon. You can become a patron to support me in my future journey. And another thing that I can tell you is that anyone who is going to be or has been a patron in the past, you will get some benefits in terms of when the course launches and you are really interested to do the course and join the course, you will get some benefits based on your patronage over the last year. So that's what I can offer at the moment. I think it's just fair, and so you have some kind of a head start if you're a patron since a while. So again, want to thank everyone for being here for the last 5 years, watching my videos and helping me to make the content, and I'm super happy that I can do this. And yeah, we'll probably see each other for a new update in a couple of weeks. And in the meanwhile, you will see some more content about these two products that I mentioned, so the Creality Scan Ferret and also the KeyDX Plus 3 version 2. And then we are going to probably take a quick break for a couple of weeks and start making completely new content about really 3D printing basics and teaching things that are relevant to people who are starting into this topic from a perspective of a practitioner and not so much the hobbyist or tinkerer's perspective. I hope that's still good for you. Stay subscribed and hopefully execute your project ideas. Whatever you are doing with 3D printing, I hope you're still excited to use your 3D printers, and we'll hear each other very soon. Bye-bye.